Right, so welcome to this session on drawing and designing, really. So the reason we're doing this as a lesson that we can do online is, one, it gets you more independent. So rather than me standing at the board showing you do this step by step, there's a reference here that you can use to draw with. The second thing is, as part of your design work and your coursework, which is 50% of the marking, remember, basically what we're actually asking you to do is to design a product that the exam board will set, and we don't know what that is. So what we've got to do is get you used to sketching and drawing. Now I'm going to be using Textsoft for mine simply because it's easier to do than me trying to draw it freehand on paper and to do a video here. It's just easy for me to create the videos using this, although I will do some hand skills, and I'll also show you some other YouTubers, other design technology teachers that have YouTube channels that actually do the same sort of stuff as what I'm going to be showing you now. So keep it down as short as we can. These tasks are meant to be probably about 10 to 15 minutes. Why? One, because obviously it's a sketch. It's got to be a rough sketch. Two, it's got to be homework. So I'm aware that after about 15 minutes people shut off. So I'm trying to keep it down as small as it can. And also because I'm uploading this onto YouTube, I've got to keep the YouTube videos fairly short and concise. Otherwise it runs into a lot of minutes and it's harder for me to upload as well onto our site. So the idea of this is they're meant to be short, sharp, focused tasks that you can do and then hand in. So this will be done in your sketchbook. Okay, so what we're going to look at is we're going to look at, first of all, the difference between 2D and 3D sketches. You have to show in your exam and your coursework that you can do both. Now a 2D sketch tends to be flat. It hasn't got any dimensions to it, so it's like an elevation, a front view, a side view, a plan. Anything else other than that generally is a perspective drawing, or it's got a 3D element to it. Okay, so we're going to start with the 3D ones first of all, and there's two ways that we're going to show you initially, which is using 1-point perspective and 2-point perspective, and then we're going to look at drawing things in isometric as well and maybe oblique. Now 1-point perspective is very similar to oblique. All these words at the moment won't mean anything to you until we start drawing. So today what we're going to start with is drawing an object in 1-point perspective. Okay, so let's go with the basics then. So 1-point perspective basically means that all lines will go to a vanishing point. So what I am going to do is just change my grid onto this 1, 2, 5, just so there's more space in here as well. Now again, I'm expecting you to do this by hand. You don't need gridded paper. You can draw this without rulers. You can draw it on a blank sheet of paper. It literally is a sketch. The reason I'm using this here is, like I say, just because it's easier for me to show you at this point. Okay, so the first thing we need from 1-point perspective is we need a vanishing point, one vanishing point. So all lines are going to originate from here. Okay, so that's the first thing. So what we're going to do now is remember that all lines go to the vanishing point unless now they are horizontal or vertical. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do for my settee is draw what it would look like flat from the side. So from my point of view, if I draw a sofa that looks a square there and another square here, we always start by drawing squares. And the reason we start by drawing squares is that everything is done using crating. So when we draw a square, we call that crating. That's the correct word for it. Right, all I'm going to do now is click onto the line command, and I'm just going to project a line going from here to the vanishing point. So all lines go to the vanishing point. So any line that I've got from here, I'm going to take to the vanishing point, which is pretty easy to do. Okay, the next stage I'm going to do is just draw the lines going up to where they need to be. Now at this point I can't really use the grid, so I'm just going to turn the grid off so it looks like a blank sheet of paper and zoom in a bit so you can see what we're doing. Again, this is the other benefit of CAD. I can zoom in to see what we're doing. Right, so the first thing I'm going to do is just draw a line going up from here. I'm just going to trim these lines so you can see where we're going. Now again, you don't need to rub out any lines, you can just darken them in. And then from this point of view, all I do now is click onto where it's got attach on mine, so you'll start drawing from there. So I'm going to attach it and the line's going to go straight across. So I'll know that line is straight, and then I'll just trim these bits. So now don't need these parts here at all. What I do next is I click back to my attach, and I'm going to attach from there and draw a line going up. And we've got the basics there now of a sofa. So I can delete the lines that I don't need. And that's going to be what my sofa looks like. So I've started off doing a basic shape. I now need to build things into this. So what I'm going to do next is, from this vanishing point, and you can see I've got the attach tool on, so I just need to undo that again. So from the vanishing point, I'm going to draw a line now to where the seat is going to be. So I'm going to say it's going to be about there. Draw my line going up. I'll draw the lines going across in a second so I can snap onto it. I'll draw another line going up here. Now this is going to be wider this side because it's nearest to us than this side that goes further away. But in reality they'll be the same size. So I'm just going to delete these lines now so you can see where we're going. And then all I'm going to do now is project that line going back. So I'm going to turn my grid lock back on from here. So attach tool, and I'm just going to draw a line going across. And a line going across from there, and I can start to then zoom in and draw these lines in a bit more. So I'm just now going to trim these lines. So again, you're doing it freehand, you won't have to worry about doing all the trimming. You can just draw these lines and sketch it as rough as you like from here, because it's just a basic sketch. I'm going to take these lines going across, draw that line going down where it fits. It's going to be there. And then what I can do then is start to draw in another line that goes from here, and that needs to go to the vanishing point in fact. So I'm just going to undo that one and click onto the vanishing point and just move that one across. So now if I trim the lines, what I'm actually left with is something that looks very similar to that. Okay, let's just trim that bit out. Right, okay, so we've got those parts that we've put in. Now it's up to you whether you want to shape these sort of around the corners or things like that. So I am going to round the corners onto this one. So all you need to do is literally, you'll just put a curve between the top and etc. from there, and then all I'll do now is do exactly the same. Maybe just put a curve. It's completely up to you what you do these. You don't need to worry about really the angles as such. It'd be a lot easier if I was drawing this freehand, it really would. But using a computer it's a bit more trickier. And I'm just going to join these lines up so it goes from the top of this part to there, and then all I'm going to do then is draw the side parts going in. So this bit, all you would do is literally, I'm just going to stretch that one going up a little bit, probably too much there. That's because I've got that part on. So if I just click onto my freehand sketch, move it down, I can draw it again. So I just draw that one, but this time I connect it to this part and maybe sketch it going just a little bit further up. Too far again. We can trim that one. So I've now got the sides coming through, and again I'll do exactly the same on this side. So from here all I'll do is literally just click onto this bit and then just shrink it so it fits onto this part. So I've now got the sides linking up to where these need to be, and that needs to be just a little bit taller, because once I've trimmed it, and I can just get rid of that line there, then this line will need to connect to there to there. So you can see we're starting to get our sofa drawn very, very quickly onto here as well. And if I wanted to, I can start to curve these edges and do exactly the same onto those bits. So if I wanted to, you can start to differentiate your drawing by literally clicking onto your drawing, just rounding some of these corners off. So once you've done the crate, you can delete these corners. So if I just do it from there, and then I can delete these lines, and then hopefully we won't need too much of those in. So you can see we're starting to get this sofa effect into here. Now on this part, what I will need to do is, in fact, this line needs to go further back, but the reason I've left it there is because what I'm going to do is draw some cushions in. So to do that, let me just delete some more frames so it gets less confusing for you to see. So all I'm going to do now is go from that line, draw another line going in, and then this time that's going to be where this seat's going to join in. So at this point I can trim these elements. From there I'll go back to my line command and attach, but this time I'm going to draw my line a little bit further back, try and keep it as straight as I can. Okay, so that bit down there is just because I'm not drawing it using a pencil. I'm trying to draw it on the PC. So I'm click onto there and do exactly the same. So from that line there, all that does is click into the center. Not quite. Still not quite there. Let me just delete these in. Try it now. Still not quite there. It might be easy to do that way. And just draw that line so it joins up with that corner. And then if I delete these out, what I'm actually left with is a sofa that is in perspective. And that's pretty much all I need you to sketch on your piece of paper. So that's took around 10 minutes to do from there. Now obviously the other things we can do if we want to is draw in a few details. So if we want this to be a two-seater, which is what I'm going to draw in. Now you need to make sure the line is roughly in the center, and you can always find the centers by going corner to corner if you wanted to. So if I draw a line corner to corner, so according to this, if I'm drawing it in the correct perspective, the center is actually there where these two lines meet. So if I delete that, and then I should be able to just click onto that line here and project that line going across to the side. Keep that as straight as I can as well. And so there's my sofa, and if I wanted to then I can just draw in the back parts, and we can do these so they curve as well. So from this point I'll just draw it from there. Probably needs to be about 6, just because I'm trying to guess it from where I'm currently at, and that's where it'll be. So it'll follow these sort of edges just going round really. And so maybe this line here also needs to be changed and then drawn back through. So we're left with that sort of sofa, and that's pretty much all you need to do. So your first sketch in your book is going to be very similar to this. So I'm just checking I've got all the bits correct, which I have. And then once you've done that, what I'll ask you to do then is to draw what it looks like from the front and from the side. So we've got a 3D and a 2D. So if I just go out from here. Now the other thing I'll ask you to do as well is to thicken the outline. So what I'm going to do now is just select the outlines here. Now all you'll do, literally yours, is just draw around it. I'm going to undo that last bit. So I need to trim this part here where that line's going to be. So if I just draw a line going through, and then you can just darken the outline with it. So I'm just going to literally cut through this part here. And so if I, oops, that should have worked on there. There we go. So trim that bit. And then I'll just need to draw that curve in myself. So from here, just try to round this corner in. From there, now I should be able to darken the outline, sorry. So let me just try that again. Right, so that bit's selected, so I need to trim some of these lines so it doesn't join up. This is the problem when you're using a computer. It'd be so easy just doing this sketch. It'd take about 4 or 5 minutes, I would have thought, on paper. So if I just join these lines, so that one's joined as well. So I just need to draw a line from there to there, and if I just trim it, so let's just select the lines that we need. It's a lot better. and you need to just put a thick line around there. So on mine, I'm just going to change that to 1mm thick. So we've got a nice thick outline around the outside, and you've got then a line going through all the smaller ones on a thinner line. So the first thing I need you to do is to draw in 1 point perspective a sofa from here. So what can we do next then? Well, once you've done that, what we can do is I can then start doing some sort of designs onto it. So it might be, an example would be from the side view that I can flip it for a start, so you could draw it the other way going in perspective. I'm not going to do that, but you can do it easy on that one. But if I just then zoom in, what I might want to do on this version is actually put some sort of a cushion. So the cushion I'm just going to do is a rectangle really, and then I'm going to rotate it round. So there's my rotate command. Move it on to here, a bit further up maybe, not too far. Right, so I need to turn that bit off. And then what I can do is just delete the lines where that crosses to show me where the cushion would be. So I can start to add different bits in, different elements from here. And again, if I needed to do another cushion, or maybe a few, I can just do exactly the same. So maybe have one on here, it's going to be a bit taller, this nearer to us. And it may be that I don't see all of it, so in this case, I might just see that part going through. So you can see where we've got different cushions from that, and that's pretty easy to do. So we've got the idea of this sofa, and then what I'd like you to do is just to draw what it looks like from the front and from the side. So as a design sketch, we can always cut these out and superimpose them like we did with our designs last year in year 9. So from the front view, mine's going to look like it's going to be a rectangle to start off with. From there, and I'm going to have another rectangle here. Now on this point, I think what I'll try and do, just to make it easier for me to sketch, again you won't have to do this because you're doing it by hand, you can draw lines straight across from here, but I'm actually going to put my grid lock on this time so I can just see what we're doing. It just makes it easier for me. So I'm going to draw it so it's slightly behind, so it's going to look like that. It's then going to have half the way up the seat going down, and again I can do this so it matches up. So you just draw lines simply going straight across. I've got one going across down here, I've got 2 seats that go across there, and you can see we've got some sort of an arm rest or something coming around here. So in my case it might look like that, and a line going down. So from the front, that's what it's going to look like on my one. Now I've just noticed as well, this bit isn't very central here. So what I may need to do is just delete that one from there, and literally just do my corner to corner, find out where the center is. It may or may not click onto a middle line, which it doesn't. So I can just sort of guess where I think that needs to be now, and just draw one line going down so it meets, and another line going across. And if I delete it that way, that's what my sofa would look like from the front view, which is pretty easy to do. I'm just going to delete these bits because I don't need them here and there. So it sort of goes round, and again all I need to do on this bit is I can just draw a line going round, a thick line going round. And then what does it look like from the side? So that's the front view. I can do the side view, although I've got this one here. I'm just going to move this into the corner so you can see we've got a different view here as well. Move that into a corner, and then what we can do is draw what it looks like from the side. So from the side, it's pretty easy. All I need to do is just literally stretch these lines going where it is from there, so it's the same height, and I can say, right, it's going to actually look and take these lines back, because that's all I would see, and that's all we would see from the side. So all I would see from the side is actually that shape. And I've got my side view I can even do a plan view down there as well. So if I wanted to, I can do my plan view. So plan view and orthographic, just follow it at 45 degrees. Project these lines going down, any line going down, that line's going down, then any line going across. So you can see where we've got down here. So if I project that line going across, just carry that 45 degrees. What I'll do then is place this one under this one, so I can see where it's going to start from. It's going to start from there. This line's going down, so that's going to be the edge of it. That line goes across, so literally looking down from the top, what I've actually got is literally myself from the top. So what does it look like from the top? It's going to look like this part. So I'd still see that. I wouldn't necessarily see the back, but I might see a little bit going through here. So I can delete these lines now. And then from a plan view, that's what I would need to do. I can still trim these parts as well. So that line there will need to go down to this bottom piece, and then I can just carry on trimming this area here, so that bit hasn't got that bit on. And that's what it would look like from a plan view using the orthographic projection that we've got here. And again, I just thicken these lines on the outline, so all these lines around here would be just thickened in. And that's just another way of making your drawing look better. So any line that you can thicken as an outline just makes it stand off the page a bit more. And then we can start to annotate when we need to. So again, because these are drawn in, it's just going to be easy for me to draw a line all the way around this rather than separate them. So from here, just draw my thick line going all the way around. And that's that bit done. So I've got my 2D sketches, I've got my 3D sketches, and of course the other thing you can do on your sheet then is just draw a border around. And that's your 1-point perspective drawing of a sofa. Again, you can start to shade this in if you need to, but at the moment that's all we'll need to do from that point of view. So that's what we're going to ask you to sketch to do it. You'll have a copy of this image that we'll give out as homework for you to stick into your sketchbook, and then you just need to practice drawing using this video so you can see how it's all going. Right, in addition to that then, as mentioned earlier, there are some other sites that you can use. So another site that you can use here is literally, it's called Product Designer Maker, and he's a DT teacher that just literally does graphics and shows you how to use marker pens, similar to what we did going way back into year 9, and it'll literally show you how to do sorts of sketches, perspective drawings in there as well. And it's just a way of developing your sketches. Now remember, this is going to be 30 marks out of 100, so the best that you can sketch, the better you should sketch, should I say, the better your grade will be. So your first homework today in your sketchbook is going to be literally drawing things in perspective. Now you can see there's a little sort of step here that you can find. There's all sorts of things about drawing in perspective. There are loads of images you can find. These are being 2-point perspective. We're going to do something very similar to that, but just using a chair next time. And then you can sort of research all the things that you can find yourself. So again, it's trying to get you to learn independently rather than me standing right, draw this line here, draw that line here, for you to start thinking and learning more independently so you can do it. And there's loads of things that we've got in here. So that's it for the first part on what your design sheet needs to look like. So we've got a 3D view here in 1-point perspective, a bit of a 1-point perspective view in here, and then we've got this part that we've got here which just shows what it looks like from the side, the front and the plan view.